Alright, so welcome back. So there's a moment in every entrepreneur's journey when you realize that doing everything yourself is the fastest path to burnout and the slowest path to growth. Today, we're talking about delegation and automation. So the twin engines of scaling smart. So not bigger for the sake of being bigger. It's a smarter way so you can finally breathe, focus, and lead. So let's start with delegation. So here's the most common mistake I see. So we delegate tasks, but we don't delegate outcomes. So usually we say, do this, write this, or post this. And then we get frustrated when it doesn't look the way we imagine in our head. Because what we really wanted was like, say, make the client feel taken care of, communicate the value of the product, or was get results without micromanaging. But we didn't say that. We just handed over a checklist. So here are delegation pain points. So the pain comes when you don't set clear expectations. Second is you don't know how you like to work, so you can teach someone else. And third is you assume your way is the way, and then you assign a task without context, purpose, or ownership. So let's talk about delegation based on personality. It's about your personality and their personality. So if you're high in conscientiousness, you want structure, quality, and timeliness. You'll need to work with people who can match that rhythm or be ready to train them into it. So if you are more open to experience, you're probably creative and flexible. So you'll want to avoid micromanaging or who thrives on process. And if your team member is detail-oriented, so give them SOPs, checklist, and structure. If they're a self-starter, so give them outcomes, freedom, and a deadline. The simple rule is delegate based on their strengths and then manage based on your weaknesses. So here's a 3-step framework in delegation. First is define the outcome clearly. What does success look like? Second is explain the why. So help them own the purpose, not just the steps. And then third is give space and feedback. Don't hover, review, reflect, and refine. Let's now move on to automation, because if delegation helps you lead people, automation helps you lead system. Every repeated task is a signpost. It's your business saying you don't need to do this manually anymore. But automation is not just about Zapier triggers or chatbot flows. It's about freeing your brain from tasks that don't need your judgment. So let's go deeper. I now would like to introduce you to what I use personally. This is a great agile tool for automation, Jira and the Scrum work. So if your team runs multiple projects, especially creative or technical ones, you don't need more meetings. You need visibility. That's where Jira and Scrum come in. Scrum is one type of agile framework. So it gives you sprints, structure, and feedback loops. It helps you ship faster and smarter without the chaos. So here's how I use it. First is I create epics. These are the big goals. So if you're going to align it with your strategic plan, these are your goals in your strategic plan. So break them now into stories. These are the individual tasks, tied to outcomes. So this is also aligned with your strategies on top of your goals. Then next is assign them across a 2-week sprint. So meaning from the high-level goals, you create the outcomes, you break down the outcomes based on 2-week sprints. And then next is use a daily stand-up, even asynchronous, to track blockers and momentum. So a daily stand-up is just, if you're with your team in person, then you can do it really literally standing up 10 to 15 minutes just to, discuss the progress, the blockers, and whatnot. So, you can do it asynchronous also using a quick chat or a group chat with your team. And then lastly is to reflect after each 2-week sprint to improve the next. That's called retrospective, to assess what has gone good, what has gone wrong, and to improve in the next 2-week sprint. So Jira becomes your shared brain. So a place where everything lives, flows, and no one drops the ball because no one has to remember everything. The goal is not to save time. The goal is to free up your best thinking for the decisions that move the needle, or for the moments that require insights, creativity, and presence. So that's what real CEOs do. They don't ask, how can I do more? They ask, how can this run without me? So I can do what only I can do. You're not here to become more efficient at doing everything. You're here to build systems, lead people, and shape the future. So delegate wisely, automate consistently, and remember, you're the architect, not just the machine. So now I'm going to walk you through how to use Jira. But before that, let me share with you a template in Google Spreadsheet first. You can find this Google template in the link below this video. So as you can see, we have two tabs here. Number one is the epics. So the epics here are the ones highlighted in green. This can be your overall company goal. One example, or departmental goals. So one example is generate 100 new qualified leads per month through inbound campaigns. Another one is increase conversion rate from 15% to 25% by the end of quarter 3. In the columns, then you have the timelines. So we have January, Feb, and March, for example, beginning of the year. And then we set the 2-week sprints. So remember, in 1 month, there are 4 weeks. So divided into 2, so you have 2-week sprints. So sprint 1 is sprint 2 for January, 3 and 4 Feb, 5 and 6 for March. With this goal, you also define the strategies. So these are the things highlighted in yellow. So if you want to generate 100 new qualified leads per month, you have to improve digital marketing and optimize sales funnel. For increase in conversion rate, then the strategy is to train sales team, refine pitch, and boost lead generation. And then from there, usually we define, the action items. These are the steps or the tactics that you would do. So usually when running a Scrum method or sprint-based agile method, you do a sprint plan. So at the beginning of the 2-week sprint, you have to plan with your team. So these are the action items. Say for example, to improve digital marketing, you have to first conduct website audit. So this one, say during the planning with your team, it's John who will be doing the website audit, so assign it to Jan, and then target to finish it in 2 weeks, which falls under sprint 1. Then for the sake of seeing how the future will look like until we finish the improvement in digital marketing, we also define other steps. Like after the website audit, you have to do the website revamp, and then after that would be to create Facebook ad creatives and then run new ad campaigns in Facebook. But since we're focusing on sprint 1, laying it out in sprint 2, 3 and all is just to have a sense of what's going to happen in the next month or so. But again, in the meantime, for sprint 1, we just do this here. We can choose to, or we can opt to say, transfer this one here if we want to squeeze in the deadline, right? But realistically, this cannot be done within 2 weeks because the website audit will take 2 weeks, for example. In optimize sales funnel, then since John is already doing this, then Sally can accommodate to run new email campaigns. So we assign it also to Sally on sprint 1. For this goal, increase in conversion rate, since we have extra another people who's working on sales. For example, we have Nico as your HR. Then Nico will be the one to source for a sales trainer. And again, the sprints can be done by department or it can be across the board. So Nico will now source for a sales trainer. And then we have James, probably the sales manager, will review and refine the sales pitch. So in reality, if you're going to assess this, since Nico is doing this, then James we can squeeze in this task for him here in sprint 1 instead of sprint 2. And then if we look at the high level, since we can do this say in 2 weeks, then by common sense, we can already start the training on sprint 2 and then run the lead generation campaign, which I think this is referring to outbound lead generation. For example, if the campaign is to do telemarketing or other outbound lead generation campaign. So we have set this as a CEO. Somehow there's a sense of comfort that, we're going to accomplish, say, the improvement in digital marketing by end of Feb or sprint 4. But by sprint 1 alone, we can finish the optimization of sales funnel. For the goal to increase conversion rate, we see here that mid-Feb, the team is already starting to run lead gen. So pretty much actually this particular strategy will be done by March, on or before March 2025. Okay, so again, this is high level. So during the sprint, we agree that these are the tasks, these ones are the tasks, that are needed to do within the week. So now we zoom in to sprint. So start of sprint, at the end of the plan. So on a daily basis, we go to a Kanban board, right? So this Kanban board is set again beginning of the week, and then we assign it based on what we have laid out here in sprint 1. So we have 4 tasks. And I think we have to add this one. So this is assigned to James. So now we delegate these tasks to these people. Again, this is while they are there. So the outcome is to conduct website audit and then explain to them, of course, the purpose of doing that. Since we have done this strategic planning, they know that if they do this, then this is a strategy to improve digital marketing, and the objective is to get 100 new qualified leads per month. Again, based on the Scrum method, on a daily basis, it's good to do a quick check-ins or stand-up meeting to see the progress of these things. If they have, yeah, well, usually it's about if there are roadblocks encountered during the span of the day. So again, you can use this template or Excel sheet or G sheet for your team. But if you want to really automate it further, we can use Jira. Okay, the one I introduced earlier, and then I'm gonna walk you through an example. Okay, so this is Jira. Just go to atlassian.com and then create an account. So once you're here, you have to create a project. Create project, use Scrum. Okay, so use template here. By the way, Jira is free for the first 10 users. Okay, so just check the pricing if you want to, later on use this for your team of more than 10 people. Okay, select a team manage thing, and then let's call it PTML. This is digital course, productivity, time management, and leadership. So we have here a standard plan. Next. Okay, you can manage invitees, or in this case, let's skip it. Confluence is actually a documentation feature or module of Atlassian that comes with Jira. Just skip it and just continue. So this is the board. So now if we're going to simulate what we have laid out in G Sheet, we can do this by going to at first define the epics, which are your goals. Go to timeline and then copy and paste this one. So within that, actually you don't need, well, if you can, but you can jump into this one, conduct website audit. Website revamp. Create FB ad creatives. And then run ad campaigns here. And then in this case, we have to source for sales trainer, review and refine sale pitch, conduct training, and then we have run lead generation. So once we have set this, then we go first to backlogs. So under backlogs, we define the sprints. So we have to create a sprint. Okay, so we have a beginning sprint here. Let's say, so as of this recording, we are in April. So let's say we start with May. So May 1 to 15 is the first sprint. So this is a 2-week sprint. Then sprint 2 is May 16 to May 16 to May 30. Okay. And then sprint 3, yeah, okay, so it automatically set 2-week sprints already. Okay, May, June, and July. Alright, so you go back to the timeline. So we have here already, the columns from sprint 1 to sprint 6. So what we'll do is just again simulate this one. Say sprint 1 is conduct audit, sprint 2 website revamp, FB creatives, and then run campaign. Run new email campaigns. Oh yeah, we have to add run new email campaign. New email campaigns, and set the sprint here. And then for conversion rate, we have here conduct training and then run lead gen. So we have these two goals of your company, and then the different action items that is aligned also with your strategy. So the next step here is you have to start the sprint. So go back to the backlog and then start sprint. Well, anyway, while you are doing the meeting, you can assign individual people here. So for this sprint, the goal is to conduct the website audit, source for sales trainer, review and refine your sales pitch, and then run new email campaigns. All different people. Okay. Obviously, if you have other goals, other steps, then this will be filled out under sprint 1. Then you start your sprint. Start date is April, May 15. The end date, it should be automatic if you're currently, you have to be in that date. Okay, so this is now the Kanban board shown here, sprint 1. You can do updates here. So the good thing about here is automation in terms of collaboration. If you have roadblock, you can tag a person, put some update here, or any notes would like to put. Okay, and then the person can do in progress. You can add additional tab here like for review. Okay, just move it here. So start of the sprint, say for example, what's his name? John started the website audit. You just go to move it here. And then during your daily sprint, you just focus on this task. Again, you don't have to, always review everything because you are zoomed in your first 2 weeks in this particular action items and tasks. Again, this can be per department or this can be across the board for all your departments with your mid managers or department managers. Alright, so I hope I have provided value in this particular module, and I'll see you in the next one.